Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall Psychic all the way from the Gold Coast. I hope wherever you are in this amazing planet of ours that you've had a really amazing week. My heart goes out to all those people in Florida that have had Hurricane Ian rampage through there and other parts of the USA. It's a terrible thing when you go through a weather event like that. It can be scary and terrifying and never knowing what's coming next. And so many people have lost their lives and it's a real tragedy. Unfortunately, Mother Nature sort of has a bit of a fury sometimes and hits places that, that are densely populated, and it leaves us with begging the question why. And look, it's not my time to get on my soapbox about global warming because these people have lost their lives and people have nowhere to live. And that's the tragedy here, that we as a world have to pull together and try and help these people recover. It's not a pleasant thing, no matter where tragedies happen in the world with weather events. My heart always goes out to everybody because it's not a pleasant time. I've been through a number of weather events in my lifetime, from fires and floods, and we call them cyclones here, and I've been through those too. So I can really sympathise and understand the trauma and the tragedy that people are going through. Anyway, let's get on with the show. This week, the Simply Tarot card of the week is the Ten of Wands. Now, this is not exactly the most positive looking card that we could have out of the 78 in the tarot cards. It is weighed down with problems and it's a very heavy load. Now, there's many times in our lives where we do feel weighed down. We do feel as if the load's too heavy, that we can't carry it. I've always worked upon the score that, we're not given something that we can't deal with. We just have to find a solution. Well, that's what this card is about. Even though you might feel very weighed down, you might feel as if the load is very heavy and that you don't know that you can carry much more. Well, you probably can't carry much more, but this is a positive card in an indirect way, saying this is as heavy as it's going to get. The only way forward now is up, that things are going to get easier. You've got to the bottom of the barrel, so to speak, that everything now from this point on will start to ease a little bit. So we've reached the heaviness, we've reached the point of no return. Now it's time for some positivity coming your way. And it is a time where, we can have many different things that weigh us down. It's not always emotional and it's not always financial. Sometimes it's just that you feel soul tired. Now, what I mean by that is you get out of bed and you've had a good night's sleep, but for some reason you still feel as if you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders and you don't know why. There's no logical reason, nothing's amiss in your life and you just don't understand. That's what the term soul tired means, is that your soul is remembering a different time or going back to clear something from your past, whether it be this lifetime or another lifetime, that is enabling you to release it. And that's why you feel tired, is that we're bringing it to the surface and we're releasing it. So the next time you experience that, you'll know that you're feeling soul tired. And there is a label for why you're feeling that way. So let's move on to the astrology section of the show. We have the sun sitting in Libra at the moment, so happy birthday to all the wonderful Librians around the world, and there's been many famous people born under the sign of Libra. We have the sun, which is actually conjunct or holding hands Venus. So it's a really nice time of the year where for many of us, our attentions are turning to the prettier side of life, to the aesthetics in life, the things that make us smile, the things that bring luxury and a feeling of comfort and security to our homes and our environment. That, if we go shopping at this moment, we have to be careful that we don't put everything in the trolley that represents sort of luxury and comfort and something that makes our hearts sing. Sometimes it's not the best time to go shopping when the sun is conjunct Venus, because we just love everything that we love, we want to buy. So just be aware of that. It's also a great time for those people that are in love or just forming a new relationship, because it means everything in the stars is aligning, that you're seeing the really, the brighter side of life, that you're seeing the gentle, soft, caring side to that person's nature. It can have a nice calming effect on any troubled relationships. If there's been some trouble in the family, this should sort of bring a little bit of a wave of a little bit more peace into the household. Even if it's only for a couple of days, it sort of just dampens everything down and calms everything down a little bit. We also have Mercury, the planet of communication, has just gone direct, and I hear everybody sort of breathing a sigh of relief and doing the happy dance and saying, oh, gee, there's been a very, very long Mercury retrograde. I can honestly say I think it was one of the longest I've ever felt in a very long time, even though it wasn't any longer than normal. It just seemed to be that way, didn't it? Nobody had their listening ears on. Everything that could sort of go wrong, from posting a parcel to, booking a phone call or whatever, seemed to be a really extra chore. Well, pleased to say Mercury's direct again now. We have a few months breathing space. We can all breathe a sigh of relief, and life can hopefully get back to normal as far as communication levels. But just also be aware Mercury is still sitting in Virgo, so people are going to be quite articulate in the way that they're delivering their communication. They're going to be a little bit nitpicky. If you say the wrong word or you don't phrase something right, people are going to jump on you for that and sort of correct you. So be aware of that. It is a time, if you're really needing to do something like, if you're editing a book, it's a perfect time for that, because your analytical brain is certainly well and truly in overdrive. We have Jupiter, the planet of expansion and opportunity, is sitting in Aries. Now, I've been talking about this for a number of shows now that, Jupiter's in Aries. It's only there for about another 9-10 months. Now, at the moment, Jupiter is known as is going backwards or retrograde in the zodiac at the moment. So what this means for Aries people is, and it will be till November 23rd, is that it's not saying that it's, preventing all your opportunities or the opportunity to expand things or start new ventures in your life. What it's suggesting to you is it's now time to take stock. Let's have a look at what you've done so far, what you've achieved. Is there anything else that you need to do research on? Is there anything you need to tighten up, straighten up before you sort of lunge forward again and thrust all your energy back into new projects? It's almost like everything's on a little bit of a pause. It's a time to reassess it and just make sure that it's exactly everything that you want it to be. Maybe there's some new information that's come to light that we need to make some adjustments before we plough ahead. It's not saying stop things dead in their tracks. It's just saying just take a little breather, have another look, have a revision of what you've achieved so far and where you're heading, and sort of make sure that your plans are solid. Because, Jupiter's only in your sign for once every 12 years, as it is for the rest of the zodiac. So please don't waste it. It's an opportunity to make some really big dreams come true, but you have to be really disciplined and you have to be really focused and have a game plan. Don't just leave things to chance, because otherwise then you're wasting the opportunity of what Jupiter is bringing to Aries. Now, it will also flow on to the other two fire signs, which is Leo and Sagittarius. Obviously not as exciting as it is for the Aries people, but those people that are born under those other signs can also expect that there may be some breakthroughs and some opportunities coming their way that they couldn't see before, that could have been reality or could have even been possible. So if it's a work opportunity that you're looking for something new or different, or to add to your collection of your skills and abilities, now's the perfect time for that. So please don't squander these opportunities. There is a lot of people in prominent positions that are taking notice of your ability and your work ethic. So it's now the time to push yourself into the limelight. For the rest of the 9 signs of the zodiac, it's just a time to sort of really bring your game face to the world and sort of do the very, very, very best that you can, because, Jupiter in Aries means that Jupiter has started a brand new 12-year cycle. So it means for each and every one of us, we have something new or potentially new on the horizon that we can all start to sort of dream a little bit bigger, that we can start to sort of look at it in a sense, I suppose, a selfish lens. It's what do I need to achieve, not necessarily what do we need to achieve. So it is a time that you can thrust yourself a little bit more forward. We have Neptune, the planet of illusion and delusion, is sitting in Pisces, which is where it feels comfortable because Neptune rules Pisces. Now, Neptune's been here for a little while now, and he's starting to really get quite comfortable being back at home and sort of really coming into his own. And that's a good thing, because it's also the planet of creativity, of sort of, gently trying to sway the world to sort of maybe think and feel in a different way. And it doesn't have to be done in a bombastic or a bossy way. It can be done in a very subtle, gentle way that, everybody comes along for the ride because we feel so comfortable, we feel so safe. And that's a good thing. So, we could do with a few more politicians born under the sign of Pisces and making us feel a little bit more comfortable, as if they're at our level and really working for us, than some of them that have got a bit bigger than larger than life personality, shall I say, that some of them around the world at the moment have got. But anyway, back to the astrology part. Neptune in Pisces is actually squaring, which is not necessarily an easy transit at the moment, Mars in Gemini. So what we mean by a square is a 90-degree right angle, and it's saying to us that it's sort of like almost like two opposing forces or two people sitting together in a boardroom, but they don't agree on things. They both have very strong opinions. They both believe they're right, and we're not necessarily coming to a compromise or a place of resolution. It's not saying one's more right than the other. It's just saying we have two formidable opponents here that have two very, very strong opinions. Now, when you have Mars in Gemini, Mars is the planet of action. It's also trying to bring about some new ideas. It's asking us to think outside the square. It's asking us to think really fast, really quickly, not necessarily giving us enough time to stop and analyse and think something through and say, yes, that really is a great idea. We need to put some more work in it. It's sort of almost like a slideshow, bang, 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 bang. The ideas are coming that fast that we really don't have time to stop and analyse them. So this is where I'm going to say to you, we need to be a little bit careful, because there is some really brilliant ideas out there at the moment, but make sure that we're giving them enough airtime. Make sure that we're stopping long enough to sort of look at them and say, is that really feasible? Is that something I put in the basket for maybe a little bit later on? Or is it something that we totally reject? So just be aware of that. If you're working on some major projects, you may find yourself in a little bit of conflict with, very strong people with very strong opinions where neither one's right nor wrong. It's just we've got to try and find a way somehow or another to sort of bring both sets of ideas to the negotiation table and then try and find our way through. So it could be a little bit tricky there for a little bit of time yet. So don't expect that everything's going to be resolved in one day. We also have the North Node, which is not a planet, but it's one of the it's one of the nodes that's trying to show us the way forward. Now, when it's conjunct or holding hands, Uranus, the planet of the unusual and the unexpected, it's sitting in Taurus. So yes, it's going to affect Taurians more than it is any other sign, but it's also collectively saying for each and every one of us that we are trying to find the way forward. We are trying to find the best way to achieve what we want to achieve for the highest good of not just only ourselves, but everybody else around us. Uranus is the planet of the unusual and the unexpected that can bring about things very, very quickly. It can sort of be like that bolt of lightning. It sort of comes in and takes something away or creates a catastrophe like we saw last week in Florida, really out of nowhere. Yes, people had warning, but nobody really realised the intensity or the ferocity of the storm was going to be, and then hence we're left behind with a lot of devastation and a lot of death. So it doesn't always have to be negative. It can be very positive. It can clear the obstacles and the restrictions out of the road very quickly. If we look at this in very general terms for the whole 12 signs, it's asking us to make sure that the things that we want to bring about in our lives, that we're very sure that that's what we want. Don't just sit there and let your mouth run off in verbal diarrhea and complain and whinge and carry on about everything, because the universe is listening, and the universe might think that you don't want that anymore, not just the fact that you're blowing off a little bit of steam. And while it's sitting in Taurus, Taurus is governs the area of our lives, our personal values, the things that are important to us. Yes, it does govern things like our personal finances, but I like to look at the energy of Taurus as being more the things that represent who we are as people, the rules and regulations that we set down for ourselves that we live by. So maybe what Uranus is asking us to do here is to maybe sort of modernise some of our value systems. Not everything has to be set in stone. As we go through life, some of our opinions on the things that we see that are important to us in our late teens and early 20s, by the time we get to our 30s and 40s, we might have a different approach or a different way of looking at something. And it's not necessarily one's right and one's wrong. It's just it's the evolution process as we go through our lives, that how we evolve and develop as individuals, and we see things in maybe through a different set of lenses. As we mature, we're not so dogmatic on some things that once upon a time that we were it was black or white. Now all of a sudden there's many shades of grey. So it's asking us to sort of look at our value systems, reevaluate things, maybe even reevaluate our personal spending. Maybe it's the time to rein that in a little bit. I mean, I know for many of us, during the time of being in COVID and lockdown, many of us learned how to shop online and we got very good at it and spent money just for the sake of spending money because we were bored or it made us feel more secure going through a very uncertain time. Well, now it's time we've got to rein that in and start to look at regrouping our finances and looking at how we can make our finances work for us a little bit more. I've got someone tickling me from above. And it's just sort of a time now to sort of really, focus on your own personal finances so that we can move forward in a more positive way. We're going to take our first caller today, which is Catherine in Billings in Montana. Are you there, Catherine? I'm sorry for pronouncing your location wrong. How can I help you today?
Hello. Hi. Yes, I'm here. I just wanted to see if any of my loved ones who have passed on or would like to come through and say anything to me today.
Okay, Catherine. Because we have such limited time, usually I say to people that it's really hard to sort of say that we're going to zone in on any one particular loved one. I can collectively tell you that there's a bunch of people from the other side waving to you when they all have smiles on their faces. So obviously they're very happy with how your life is progressing. So it's not one particular standout message I want to share with you from them. It's just that everybody seems to be happy, well adjusted. They seem happy with where your life's going. So I can only take from that, Catherine, that maybe you've made some major changes this year, that you were a little bit apprehensive or a little bit uncertain of whether or not you'd made the right choices, but you still proceeded ahead anyway because it was, well, I've come this far, I may as well see it through to the end. Is that what's been happening in your life, Catherine?
Nothing too majorly drastic, no.
No, okay, but I'm trying to understand why from the other side they're all sort of smiling and clapping and cheering and they're all very excited as if you've achieved a major milestone in their opinion.
I think just being able to talk to you, and I've been very I've had some doubt and some trepidation that I actually would ever be able to communicate with them. And yet I've always known that I could. And I just wanted somehow to verify that. And that could just be them saying, yay, maybe she'll believe us now. Because they're always giving me messages, always.
Yeah, because it was like they were at a ball game and they were all standing up clapping and cheering, as if their side had just scored or got the home run or whatever. They were really excited. And, and I was I haven't seen such a gathering of people.
Oh, well, that's great. That's good to hear.
So it was really exciting, and I didn't know quite how to interpret it because nobody came forward with a direct, please pass this on. They were just all like they were literally jumping up in the stand, clapping and cheering at a ball game. That was the best way I could describe it. So yes, they are finally happy that you are believing that they are there, that they are giving you guidance on a daily basis. I think the thing is for us humans, Catherine, is we're expecting some monumental thing. We're expecting somebody to sort of arrive or ascend down and say, I'm here and this is something powerful, but they do it in such subtle ways. It can be a song on the radio. They can flick a light on. They can turn the television set on. They can move a photograph. It's subtle things that in their way of letting you know that they're there. And, quite often they have quite a sense of humour from the other side. If you're really fanatical and like all your pictures on the mantelpiece to be straight, they'll come along and move them just to let you know they've been there. And you'll think, who's been moving these photographs again? I'm sick of straightening them up. Well, that's them. So just, acknowledge little things like that you sort of don't quite understand because it usually is them. And as I said, they have a wonderful sense of humour and they love to be seen and heard, and just talk to them as if they're still here because they love that. They love to know that you still believe that they're close by because they truly are. So I hope that's helped you, Catherine, and it's really lovely to see all the clapping and cheering for you. That's wonderful. That's where we're going to leave Catherine now. We're going to go to Summer in Pink Hill in North Carolina in the USA. Are you there, Summer? A lovely name.
Hello.
Hi, Summer. Do you have a question I can answer for you, sweetie?
I don't know.
y'all do general readings
Yeah, sure. Okay, so well, look, I'll
is
just
this
give you
like mediumship?
Yeah, look, Summer, let me go with, because you haven't got a particular question, let me go with what they're going to share with me from the other side that they think might be helpful to you. How's that? So the first thing I'm picking up some is that there's been a number of endings or changes or transformations this year. So have you been really working hard on sort of bringing your life more into balance than where it was previously? Is that what you've been doing this year?
Yes, ma'am.
Good, because they're showing me that, and they're asking me to share with you to keep going, that you're almost there. You've almost achieved everything that you set out to do, and they're really. I've got a couple of people coming through from the other side. They haven't introduced themselves at who they are, but I've got a male and female, and I'm going to assume it's grandparents. So have you, or are these great breaking up?
I'm having trouble hearing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've got an older couple here, a male and a female, which to me, in the way that they're presenting them, so look at them as great grandparents. And it's sort of like they're the ones that have been in charge of helping you get your life back on track. It's sort of like they've been guiding you. They're with you every step of the way. They're also sort of showing me that there's changes to the where you're living at the moment. Also, they're showing me that money's still going to be a little bit tight for a little while yet, but you're managing okay. Sort of like, don't do anything silly as far as money's concerned. Like, I think what they're meaning is don't go out and take a loan out and buy a new car. That's not the time to do that. Do you know what I mean? Let's just continue on the way we are. And they're showing me 2023 will see an easing to the financial restrictions that have been there, in the way that you sort of feel that this has been a year where it's been, I'm trying to sort of plough ahead. I'm trying to reduce my debt. I'm trying to get on top of many projects at once. And it's sort of like sometimes it feels very overwhelming and there'll never be an end in sight, but they're showing me that there is, and they want you to keep going. They're also giving me a beautiful big pink heart. So does that mean that you're happy in a relationship at the moment?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Yes. I constantly have dreams about my grandparents every night. I mean, just about every night. And in those dreams, I'm in their house, the house that they used to live in. And and they want me. And my grandparents are telling me that that I'm supposed to be living there in that house.
Right.
And I don't know why. But I don't know.
Yeah, look, I'm going to say to you, it's wonderful that they're coming through to you in your dreams, because that's definitely who was coming forward to me from the other side. So I'm not disputing that. And the fact that they're showing you that you should be living in their house, if you can't see a physical way of that happening at the moment, don't get bogged down on it. Just know that whatever the reason is, whether you're physically going to live there or not, it's their way of showing you something that you can relate to. Do you know what I mean? Where you obviously felt happy, where you felt secure, you felt safe and loved and protected when you were in their home.
Good memories, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and it's sort of like it could just be a symbolic thing. I'm not going to rule out and say that, you may not end up living there at some stage or another, but let's just err on the side of caution for the moment, and let's just look at it as a symbolic gesture from them to sort of show that you're safe, you're secure. They're guiding you, they're with you every step of the way, that, there's nothing that you can't handle. But they were showing me 2023 was going to be much easier on the financial front. I know that it's almost like they've denied the fact that they've gone through to the other side. In their opinion, they're still with you. They're still here on earth. They're still living with you. You know what I mean? They're still guiding you, helping you, whatever. And that's not unhealthy. I don't want you to think that they're not settled and haven't gone through to the other side. It's not that. It's just that they're just so connected to you that they still feel part of your life here on earth is with them, as if they're walking physically side by side with you every step of the way. And that's a beautiful thing, Summer, to have, grandparents that are still so very connected to you that, you're almost like their child to them. They're so protective of you. Yeah, and that's beautiful. That really, really is beautiful because, we can all be close to our grandparents, but very rarely do I ever see a connection like this that is so powerful and so unique and so special. And I know that they're so very proud of you. There's been times there that they've shown me, particularly in this last 18 months, where you felt that, life was just so oppressive and so heavy. And they were literally holding you up. They were literally helping you take that next step. Now, that's pretty amazing to think that the power of your grandparents' love, that they felt the need to come and help hold you up to help get you to the next part of your life. That's really special. Really beautiful love story from them. And they're just showing me that, they keep showing me this oversized, beautiful, big pink heart. And I think it's their way of telling you how much they love you. Anyway, Summer, that's where we're going to have to leave it. We've come to the end of the show. So it's interesting how today that we had connections from the other side that, sometimes they get quite vocal and they want to come through. I must say it's the first time I've seen them clapping and cheering like they're at a ball game and somebody's just hit a home run. But that's the magic of spirit, is that they are able to come through and share with us in messages that don't necessarily mean anything for the person that's getting the message, but it's who it's meant for, that it means so much to them. So this week I want to leave you with a very old song, one of my favourite songs, and I really do have a passion for lots of different music, as you've probably seen over the weeks on the show. But I suppose if I was to say that one of my really favourite genres of music is really the soul music out of Motown. And this one particularly has been one of my favourites for many, many years, by Dionne Warwick. And that's what friends are for. And I think it's a very special message for each and every one of us, no matter what you're going through in your life. We really do need to have a bunch of good friends around us. And that's what friends are for. They give us the strength, the courage, the determination. They cry with us, they smile with us, and they're always there. So until next week, enjoy your week. Bye for now.